soja, Pharaoh soja, never fail, baby, your friend soja.
But you are well, Tia, be a jet, yeah. Tia, be a jet, yeah. Okay, Mose, you, Baba, Mochare. Tia, Mose, be on jet, yeah. Mose, you, Mochara, Mochara. Debiane, Mama, Chaya. Mosa, Mosa, no, we're for her. Debiane, Mona, and Banya. Wagga, Debiane, John. Mara, Mona, and Banya. Mama, just so, Mama, and Bawarama. Mumma is a watcher. Tina Mosa, Jamati was Yara. Tina Mosa, Babu, we are. Maranate, Maranate. Pharaoh soja, never fail, baby, your friend soja. Never
all of you great people in the house of evening and welcome. And here comes the Painting Pinterest Mania. And what announcers want to congratulate yourself. And the thing you need to
What did they be about? What did they go about? What did they be doing? I'm going to jail. My name, I'm going to jail. What's your name, Joe? Cafe, I'm going to move. Can't get on your young. They're getting one in jail. Baba, you know, just anything. I'm walking back. They're going to walk about this.
continue to keep us
Se puede
dedicated
ver de
our
canteo.
place inside where's our home?
Apomo.
Is the culture, the
Apomo
beautiful
kade di enyo. Apomo kade tapo ye waramo. Apomo kade kansa. Fofo ansa. Kansa. Agbara mba me agajate o. Yusu wa kure tu apo enyi. Ara mo agade biaba. Se puede preparar
supposed to help us to give us the interpretation.
I said, if you're body,
I already
I
seen it.
come
Thank you,
if
Lord.
you're
Oh,
body,
yes.
my robot is a car. Jam, if you're body, I'm walking for my bar. I get if you're bar, I get for my bar. I get if you're pure. One in Jebo, Marebo, one in Jebo.
Oh, thank you very much.
Oh, big now, yo, baby, get you off my son, yeah. It's very now, yo, baby, get you off my son, yeah. No, yeah,
Vamos soja oh, vamos soja oh, Pharaoh soja oh, never fail oh, better be your friends on them.
oh, big now, yo, baby, get you off my son, yeah.
Never fail oh, Israel,
It's very my fail, baby, get you off my son, yeah.
never fail oh, Israel.
Okay, good evening, good evening. Welcome. What an inspirational song here this evening. That's the beauty of Liberia. We have to do this. We have to showcase the quality, the good. I know someone is jealous here because people now saying this is a nice song. You never see him playing his own country music. Yet he claimed to be a total man from Grand Gita. Mikey, I will provoke you. I will provoke you until you can denounce this guy here. Folks, welcome. This is the last and final segment here. This is what we sign off for. It was a quite fascinating conversation with the superintendent of Mount Gibby this evening, around 4 o'clock. But you know, we had a rendezvous with you guys here. 8 p.m. we have to be here. So here comes the liberal from the liberal state of California. I hope he's going to tell me thank you for that beautiful inspirational gospel music that I have played. He never played gospel music on this year. And then when he ready, he bring his Walmart cow tea. He wants to provoke people here. So the Holy Ghost is already going to fire him. Let me bring in the guy from Atlanta, Georgia. Mr. Amos George is also here. Okay, gentlemen, good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Mr. So, and good evening, Samson Brown Toll from Totem.
Good evening, Mr. George, and good evening, Mr. Soul. It's nice to be.
Why you can't call my name first? It's not George hosting the program. I am hosting the program. Why you want to read go counterclockwise?
Okay. Mr. Soul, you're not going to try to dislodge this liberal progressive on his talking point tonight. It's not going to happen. I know exactly what you're trying to do, but you're not going to bamboozle me into believing that I'm part of you. I'm not. I am a liberal. I stand here as a counterweight to you in the central right. I'm not too sure what's happening to the CDC professor, but I don't see him yet. I hope he will join us here very shortly because I got a mail for all three of you here tonight.
Why you always jump into a struggle with people? What's your problem?
Well, I mean, I'm just telling you, you came in and trying to dislodge me from my talking point by trying to bring out this kumbaya stuff here, and I'm not here for that tonight.
You see here, let me just tell you here. You see, Mr. Josephus Thomas here said next song. You see here, Fremont came on here say very inspirational. Can't you see the reactions of your viewers? and you try to disrespect them. You don't even want to say
Far from it, Mr. So I respect their view and I accept
why you can't even give me the kudos that are playing the nice song. You ever play a gospel song here before?
all the time.
From which country?
In fact, before I start my show, I always pray. You know that.
You pray without closing your eyes.
Yeah, you don't necessarily close your eyes for God to listen to you.
Oh man, this is okay. Well, you know what? I'm not gonna get into a fight because you're just a boy catcher, and then that's how you guys can be here. Amos Joy, guess what? I spoke with the superintendent of mine. 12 years these people were in power, and they compromised the security of our people. No police station, no health clinic. 12 years.
Where you going? Hold on there.
Oh my goodness. What are you talking about?
Hold on there.
They can't.
You know what? Let's start a program here.
Who are the speaker?
What are you talking about?
The speaker.
I don't know him.
Nukwe.
Okay.
Today, he's there in the Senate, and they put him into the Senate, and they elevated him, they promoted him. Good luck for them.
Is that how you're going to start it this evening as well?
I just put hitting the nail on the head. Nukwe was speaker from Magibi County. They took the government, they said, we want our own countrymen. They put Nukwe there again. They rewarded him. So they did a good job there. Marvelous job.
I thought Nukwe was from Bon County.
Nukwe from
Magibi.
But you know, Magibi.
Emmanuel Nukwe, he was the vice presidential candidate, or was that vice president?
I don't look. This people, when the human tragedy, I see it. But for them to total kind of thing, I just laugh at them. You got speaker from your country, Nukwe. Then you turn around, you elevate them, so it means that he has been doing a good job for you people. Because that's a reward.
I don't understand here. Okay, we're gonna get to it. It's an open mic, and I will try as much as possible to accommodate people here. But that guy over you there, that's not a person to rely on. You know this they call it the bamboo stick. We get plenty in Grandie there. He knows that. You never knows when it's dry or wet. So you can't even put any inch of weight on it. What that does, it throw you in a swamp or in a river.
Yeah, right in the middle of where they'll break.
That's the guy there. That's something told there. Okay, let's get started here. There's politics of Liberia here. Because we can't just say, you know what, we're gonna get upset and let it go. I sincerely believe that's the strategy of these politicians. These gentlemen, these ladies, these people, they will get tired and let it go. But I want to play something here from something Unity Party, because Liberty Party get tasked with Unity Party. So let's see here. These people, and I've been saying here from time to time, they jump from one end to another end. They create crisis. They leave the crisis unresolved. And they go away and they think they are so smart. But what? They're quick to be catch up in the long run. Let's see what happened here.
Press release, Monrovia, August 17, 2021.
I'm so sick and tired with the endless press releases here, but what to do? We have to deal with it. Let's listen.
And Liberia's fastest growing political mass-based party. So, People's Liberation Party officially announced the immediate removal of 3 of its acting executives for their involvement in acts which contravene the norms and bylaws of the Constitution of PLP. The GPC is the highest decision-making body of the People's Liberation Party, which comprises of executive members of the PLP. The removal includes Mr. Wilmot P., former chairman, Mr. Henry Saki, former vice chair for political affairs, and Mr. Kanzwalizin Beck Kanswa, former secretary general of the People's Liberation Party. Mr. Pei was removed following thorough investigations into countless numbers of complaints.
Okay, let's get this here because this is a complete headache, hair spinning. Give yourself migraine. You go to doctor can't find a way out, but you know exactly where you get it. Countless street executives. He did appear on Spoons, Sister Network Spoons yesterday. I really didn't have a chance to listen to it, but I'm going to take on the philosophical aspect, the idea, this sort of things happening. This is a Wilmon Pei, formerly of the Unity Party. We know the story, what happened with the Unity Party. He has gone. Active campaign has not even started. And they say he's violated the constitutions, removing the people to unilaterally, perhaps without the concerns, or maybe with their political leaders and all of that. But I'm worrying here the structural aspect of this political party, PLP, People Liberation Party, as well. What out? Even Dr. Cassette ever had a conversation with Wilmon Pei before becoming a chairman of that political party, the norms, what are the things that he saw in Wilmon Pei, how he intended to go ahead, forge ahead to present this party in a different context, from a different perspective, maybe to give Liberians a hope, because he's a new guy coming on the block, how humanitarians turned politician, just how the soccer legend turned politician, business tycoon from the Coca-Cola industry turned politicians, and a career politician, man, Jose Numa Boakai, one of the longest serving government official. Yes, still to face retirement here. So, Mr. Joyce,
Yeah.
let's have a conversation here on a serious note. I don't understand. Probably you're going to help me. The true context or meaning of a political party. How do we understand? It seems to me the interpretations of political party in Liberia is quite different from other countries' political institutions in terms of they see these institutions as a touch. That seems not to be the case. I'm not sure whether we are really a full-fledged political institution, or is it just a nomenclature given to them because they are seeking state power? Here we go again with Wilmon Pei. I don't mean to crucify him. I hope I will have the opportunity to talk to him. But when this kind of thing will happen, the flashback, we retrospect on the past and try to bring it into the present. Where is the opposition going with this?
Let me say this. If it's, I started following Wilmon page from the June 7 protest. Right there, I found out that Wilmon Pei has a credibility problem. When he made that pronouncement,
that's a serious indictment you put in your hand.
The pronouncement he made that he removed from the party, from the previous party. He lied. He said when he get that press that they were not participating, then the party executive came and said no, he was not authorized to do so. And the party did the investigation. According to them, they found out that he took a unilateral decision. That one led to his removal from. And did they expel him? I don't know, but that was led to him removed from the chairmanship of the party. I think they expelled him or whatever. Then that's a red flag there now. Because for the man to take that kind of decision, a mass demonstration is being organized by opposition. The chairman just got up unilaterally and said, hey, we are not participating. The people went to the and they found out that, hey, no, the decision did not come from us. So how do you arrive at the decision? That was the first red flag I have a Wilmon Pei now. Cassette King, Cassette Token. Bloop. Go on to Cassette.
Did he ask anybody a question or not? You don't know?
But this is what happening. Dr. Cassette, coming to Liberia, I don't know how much feasibility he did. Did he inquire about women pay? What led to his removal from that party, that institution he was in as chairman? What led to his removal? Did he inquire? Did he ascertain the full investigation to know what led to that investigation? And if so, was it right? Was he treated right? I don't know how he did it. Women pay was announced as chairman of the Liberian, People's Liberation Party. Not less than 6 months, similar allegation is coming that he taking unilateral decision. Now, water that was investigated by the Liberation Party, I don't know.
Yeah, according to the relief, they said there was an internal investigation and blah blah. I didn't listen. To be honest with you, not to interrupt you, I didn't listen to the Women Pay on the version yesterday. But he's a skillful politician that I know.
Yeah, but being skillful and
he's skillful in trying to restructure. Yeah,
you have a problem. You have other dealing with people. You have that issue, then it become an issue for any institution. Now, I just listened, I think 5 or 10 minutes investigating that I was between something. He said, hoping, the first you were saying, he was very careful. He was very careful with his words, not to accuse the chairman, the political leader of that institution. He was very careful. And he asked 1 or 2 tough questions. How he got that job. And he said he was recruited by somebody, by the chairman of the recruiting committee or whatever. But this person happened to be the brother-in-law of Dr. Cassette. And they asked him whether he knew the relationship between him, Dr. Cassette, and that person that recruited him, according to him. He said he didn't know anything. That was it.
I don't know the in depth, but from what I'm hearing, even the Cassette party, it seems to be like some sort of family, almost similar to that of Banana Ure here. Okay.
That's what I'm talking about now. So his brother-in-law, according to Waterspoon, and Women Pay was the one that was the chairman of that recruiting process. And it was his brother-in-law that recruited Women Pay. And as Women Pay, Water, has he spoken to him? He said, no, he's out of the country. But maybe if he come, maybe he had his own decision to make, but he had not spoken to him. But if this man was the one that gave you the job and you have been suspended, you don't think will be the first person to call to ask a thing from him, whether, hey, are you aware of this? But he was very skillful. But the whole problem, Mr. Toll, let me just close on this. So, these are not institutions in Liberia. These things are built around one person. So even if Women Pay was wrong, once Dr. Cassette don't want him, we have to go because everybody in that institution depends on Dr. Cassette.
All right, he will have to go. Let me give somebody a nightmare right now because he always called his hands always caught in the cookies jar. Let me welcome the people's professor from near the capital of Washington, D.C. here. Okay.
I would prefer to be called the CDC professor.
Yeah.
So I like that title. That's the most
why you can't give this guy a name?
Who? The honor covers edition? I won't even tell you the secret, but yesterday one of my friends and myself were talking about him, and the joke came about him being an undercover sedition. I said, yeah, that's the secret.
Is the thing now? I wonder he's still thinking Charles Bronson stay around. I'm gonna something. Why are you straining? You want to be? Look, I told him you can't be in 2 places. Liberty Party already let you go. They know you are a strong affiliate of CDC. Okay, we just pull in. Okay, the Liberal, let me just bring you in here.
Thank you.
Professor, good evening. Welcome. We're going to it's an open mic here, and so please don't hesitate to also insight into something, all things considered. That's what it does. Look, the Liberal.
Yes.
I am getting sick and tired of people destroying, prematurely harming political institutions Other people not even asking questions. They're not looking at their trash record because they also in desperation and they are not well calculative. They bring people, and then at the end of the day, sooner or later, we get to know. This is one of the things that is killing our democratic process and even the good governance aspect, because you have these ratting apples go so pollute this other area. They don't resolve anything. They cause chaotic situation, political chaotic situation, and jump on this other side. Here we are. How can we count? How can we bang on the opposition as an alternative? He's in the opposition. I don't know whether he's part of the CPP. I don't know. But he's Kase playing his own Kase in his own world here. Here we go with Wilmot Pay again. Who gonna take him now? Where is he? Which party is he gonna go to?
Thank you, Mr. So. And then once again, good evening to Mr. George, Center Right, and CDD Professor. Welcome. Thank you very much. I thought I scared you away, but I believe the sedition heard that and they said you got to get on, and so they push you on. But that's okay. Look, Mr. So, let's take this very serious business. My opinion, that is, what these people are doing in Liberia, come 2023. They are basically giving the election to CDC and Dr. Weir. The reason I'm saying this is this. You claim Dr. Weir is X, Y, and Z. But to have political party all over the country like that, and to even have political party dismissing their political whatever, honor the leadership of Dr. Weir. And quite recently, we read on the newspaper where the traditional chief back in 1985 or 86 submitted to Samuel Doe the resolution so that Samuel Doe would turn the country back to one-party system. But here we have the most popularity, that is not leadership. Let's separate those. Who is now leading Liberia? And he's now utilizing his popularity to say, I want one-party system. But then under his leadership, you have all of these political parties. I'll be going to Liberia soon to form my own. Me and my children to be a political party. Under this leadership. How then can you come back? How then do you expect the international community to question Dr. Weir and CDC-led government as to whether they are the press freedom or freedom at all? Nothing. And so what these people are doing, they are tying the hands of those brothers and sisters who continue to fight for war crime court in Liberia. Because Dr. Weir can even argue to say, look at the kinds of thing we have. Look at the political party we have. People are free. They can dismiss. They can argue. Nobody is in jail.
But where are you going with this?
Don't worry. I know what. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, Mr. Center Right. That's why make me the liberal. Please give me a break. So the point here, Mr. So, these political parties, whatever game they're playing, it's unacceptable. What they're doing, they're tying the hands of the real opposition. They're tying the hand of a real opposition. Yes.
What are the real opposition?
We are the real opposition. Let me finish. They're tying the hand of a real opposition. You have these people whose credibility is shot, and now they're going to throw themselves in the election. Do you expect for people to take this serious? Do you expect it? And even if they come back to say they want to be part of the opposition group, how then do you take them serious? Wilmot Pay, of all people, his credibility is in the drain. And yesterday he was managing a political party in Liberia. Dr. Weir can take that to the bank and say, I've done something. I am not a dictator. The president of the Republic of Liberia, allow people like this to run a political party. Mr. So, I say congratulations to Dr. Weir, because I think these people purposely, I believe purposely, are giving the election to Dr. Weir, and we have to stop these people because they're not part of the opposition. They are the real undercover sedition.
Oh,
You're trying to talk? Do you tie that into the dictatorship?
They're trying the title they gave him. You're trying to transfer it to who you sending it to what? Kase or who? Dr. Kase?
Dr. Kase, one thing, let me say this here. Dr. Kase, he has a good mind for the country. I'm not taking that away from him.
Yeah,
but
everybody get good mind.
I know that, but what I thought he would have done with all that money he had, what I thought he would have done is to come and help the present government to do roads, do hospitals, and stuff like that. This is, you see, sometimes some people just rush into things when they are not quite ready. This is not the time. This is not the. You hold on, Mr. Center Right. Why were you? But of course, and that's who you guys. You're from Georgia. You're from Georgia, where they believe Joe Biden stole the election. So your behavior, your center-right behavior, fall in line with their thinking. So I'm not that quite surprised. But the point that I'm making here is this: Dr. Kase should have waited, come into Liberia, willing to spend the money. Since he's willing to spend the money, come into Liberia, establish one or two major impactful projects, honor your name. Let the international community recognize that you have the ability to deliver. But what did he do?
What
political party, and they all split the partner. Where is the credibility that will come to his way? I don't see it.
Okay, let me bring in the professor. Professor, thank you for being here. This guy is about to kind of diffuse the entire discourse here again tonight. You remember, let Ellis Cumming wait and Gary Boycott chance. That's why he's talking. He's asking. He's telling us now. Danny Cassell should go build road. Should go build his bridge to Totown that is falling apart. Whereby he's here. He building the modern bridge now in Sacramento. He want Cassell to do it to give people apart. Professor, let me just bring you in here. Are they giving CDC more legs here? Seeing what is coming within the cycle of the opposition to different opposition party, there's no way that I can see that these people are going to solidify their positions to consolidate their effort to say, okay, this is what the CDC doing. But if you go to Liberty Party, Nyambli Kanga Lawrence and what his name said, Liberia richest. Yeah, Billy, he said he's the richest man. That's not his word. That's why he's saying you. And you guys remember that he said he's the richest man in Liberia.
Yeah,
they are fighting. Yeah, we see now to Women Pay and the LPP, CPP, and whatever is still undone. What is that doing to the? How is the ruling establishment processing this sort of political games that is ongoing?
Well, I don't think the ruling establishment is going to process what is going on. But I think one of the things that our government, our party has to be more concerned about is how we can deliver to Liberian people what we promised to deliver to them in 2018. And so what's transpiring is nothing strange. And people like Dr. Cassell is a menace to our political democratic dispensation. These are the very dangerous elements who have no intention. I heard a Liberal progressive say he has a good mind. He has no good mind for the country. He has no good mind. He has no good feeling, good intentions for the country. He has an intention for his belly and an intention to exploit the situation in our country, to put himself into a position that he had been dreaming and harboring, thoughts about for all of his life. Unfortunately, Liberian voters are very smart. They will not vote for a person who's seeking a retirement job in Liberia. All right. Our Liberian value. I know the Liberal Progressive. I know Mr. George. I know you, Mr. So. You've never deviated from your commitment to our country. All of your time in the United States, you have been involved with Liberia and Liberian activities all along. Where does this guy come from?
Hold on, right side. Professor, you also always in this sort of red meat here. That was the same sort of identity you put on Ellis Cumming here. Ellis Cumming had not been nowhere. Now you are transferring that to. Is that how you're going to define these people?
No. Yeah, but we have to define them like that very seriously. There's a reason for that. You see, when you talk about patriotism and nationalism, it is not something that is timed. It should be perpetual. If I can identify an individual and look at the person's history and see there was a specific time in that person's life where nationalism and patriotism was not present, I question that person's commitment to Liberia. You are Liberian. We all are Liberian. We've never, ever abandoned our Liberianism in us. Now, you tell me, when did you hear about Dr. Cassell? You heard about Dr. Cassell on the eve of his campaign for the presidency of Liberia. That's scary. You know, I always tell people, I say, if we let Liberia go down this path, where somebody will come to the United States, forget about the country, and when they reach retirement age, they decide to go Liberia and run. You know what happen? Let me tell you what will happen. You will have a comedian here in America. A Liberian kid will come and become a comedian one day. Total jester will become, and then has the money. And suddenly they decide to go Liberia to go run. And because we create a paragon of electing these today Liberians, tomorrow not Liberians, afterwards want to be Liberians, when we create a paragon, there's a chance of that person being elected. That person go to the country, doesn't even know the country. Look, I doubt that the Cassell knows the 15 political subdivision in the capital city.
Oh my goodness.
I seriously doubt Mr. I mean, the other day, you know, my friend Ava Azituba would do a good. The Cummings made a very good move. I praise him for that. In fact, he's the one who made the best move of all political parties, including CDC, over the last 2 months. He made the biggest move. He brought in somebody who is going to help him with some grassroots political organization. So now, for example, all of the time I've been hearing about Cummings, I didn't hear that he lived in Point 4. I didn't hear that his mom was a seamstress and she used to sell this and sell that to make a living. Cummings presented himself.
His mother used to sell rice in Fairmont.
That's what I'm saying. But
I grew up in Fairmont. We used to buy rice there.
Fine. Okay. But how was she selling the rice? By cup or in the store?
Oh my
God. She used to sell it right in her yard.
By cups or by bags?
By bags.
Okay, that's different. People who sell rice by bag, they're not poor people.
That's a poor excuse. That's a poor excuse.
You see?
That's a poor excuse.
Oh, this is what I'm going to tell you.
Mr. So, this is going to be a very interesting conversation tonight.
The market women like people that are making wholesale business. So, Professor,
let me tell you the secret of the professor yesterday. The man is a professor. So that's how he draws his question. When he gives you the option, he waits to see the direction you're going to pivot in. So by the time you say by bed, you know it's not meant for the poor people. So you're only
they are market women to the who's doing wholesale business.
Poor market women sell by cups. Poor market women sell by cups.
I'm saying market women today, Professor. You and I can bet there are women who got wholesale business in Liberia.
I agree.
So when you say that they are not poor,
and you know why? Thank President Samuel Kanyando, who opened up the
Professor.
Hold on one second. Let's have a quiet conversation here.
Why? Dr. Samuel Kanyando opened up the country, provided more opportunity for people of diversified backgrounds in Liberia to be able to access the economic pie. Prior to him, it was restricted to a certain sector of the population, a minority sector. So those people who were able to have a store and be selling bags of rice, those are not poor people. My grandfather could not even afford to buy a bag of rice. So let alone he was going to buy several bags and sell them.
So what you mean by that? Because your grandfather could not afford, so other people don't that mean they are not
poor. Your grandfather couldn't afford to buy a bag of rice.
No, of course, because he know acquired the skills. He know acquired the skills.
You are poor.
Okay. Let's neutralize the conversation.
Mr. So, please.
Yeah, don't worry. I'm going to bring you in here.
Yeah,
I'm getting this sort of interpretations in the literary context or literary world, whatever the professor is saying here, because when you're on the wholesale, it's kind of a little bit different. So that was a real bookie trap here. But let me bring in the laborer here. The laborer.
Yes.
Do you think, is that a good what the professor argument? Does that hold a dip of water?
Mr. So, take it from me. The CDC professor is here to be pretty much like a counterweight to his friend Isaac. So he's here This is a campaign, Mr. So. Why are we missing this? The professor, the CDC professor, is laying out the talking point. He's poor. He's not poor. Yeah, he is. This guy, Dr. Kase, people in Liberia, the message from the CDC professor, people in Liberia, when last you saw this man? And here's the other thing here. So I'm surprised he didn't even bring out ULA or some of the Liberian organization. When last, to be honest with you, I've been around. I've never heard of Dr. Kase in any of the Liberian community organization, what have you. Maybe he was busy educating himself. So we give him that. We give him that. Because to try to educate yourself at that level, sometimes it's difficult. If you mix that up with whatever it is, it becomes difficult.
Which level?
Doctoral degree. It's a difficult. I've never been there before. I don't know that. I'm not even a high school graduate, so you know what it is. But the point that I'm making is, I said maybe because he was doing his educating himself, therefore he didn't have time to mingle with the people. So the good professor, CDC professor, is using that opportunity now to say this man, he's not a patriotic person. Do you see the interesting thing? If Dr. Kase, in the long run, decided to tie himself with one of the opposition on patriotic person, now coming around Dr. Baka, the CDC will use this against him. But we're quite prepared.
Why Baka?
Because Dr. Baka is going to be president of the Republic of Liberia 2023, Mr. So why are you asking me that? Don't you know that? You should have known better than to ask that kind of question. So
the party.
No, CDC, but the CDC professor, you were remain CDC professor for a very long time, 12 years after we get it. But let me say this: so you started this thing with Comey, and now you're crediting your brother to say now people the brothers now coming in and everything Comey's background, which now going to tie him to the pole of the Republic of Liberia, which is good. And here you are. Taking Dr. Kase out of it, and then when he says his mom sells right, where Becca right? Oh, she's not poor. Why selling Becca? You can go and borrow money from Lebanon people and buy Becca rice and sell it. So, let me finish. Let me finish, doctor. Let me finish, CDC doctor, CDC professor.
You ever borrowed money from Lebanon people before?
Of course, LPA. What's wrong with that?
What
PLA? What they call LP or PLA? Something like that.
Who do they get LPA to?
To the government, most of the government employees
who are working. So the poor woman who doesn't have a job will get LPA.
If you have the means to pay.
In this country, can you get money can you get a loan?
No, Mr. George, you can't compare this country. That's why you guys always do the simple right. You always take in Liberian situation and compare it with this country. It's not right.
I want to know why Professor saying that if someone not working will not get money. Why you want someone to get someone money when they don't have the capacity to pay back? Can you do that?
No, but I think, are you saying it's not a valid question that he's asking?
That's something land.
Exactly.
Hold on. Let her. Something make your point. Then
the point that I'm making is CDC professor. Well, let's mark this and let us don't rush him. This is a talking point from this point up to election time. He will try to downplay and upplay the division, which is he's not part of us. This person is not part of us. Now, we're talking about not part of us. Doctor, we are spending how many years in Europe? He's part of us, isn't he? So why is it that you would say people, Dr. Weir, I said Dr. Weir, why is it that other people will come to Liberia and say they're not part of us? Mr. CDC professor, this talking point of CDC is not going to garner you any vote. You're going down and you're going down hard. Take it from him.
You know, I like the fact that
you're 100% right. This is the rare meat. They are packaging now to resell to the Liberian people. That according to Professor, he's not a Liberian. He was not born in Liberia. Those are the packages that they are making. He's making now to sell to the Liberian people. But this is the divisive politics we're talking about. Why would you say this person is not born in Liberia because they didn't do certain thing to Liberia at a certain time?
No.
That
That's not the reason.
no, Mr. Professor, that has been devised. You are saying over on this program that Mr. Cummings was not born in Liberia.
No,
He's not a Liberian. You said it, Mr. Toll can put it back. He can play it. You said it.
And you're not born in Liberia. I say I doubt that he's a Liberian.
You doubt it. So where was he born?
Doesn't
Where
matter.
was he born? If he doubted, where was he born?
I doubt that he. No, I didn't say I doubt where he was born.
You said that you doubt it. If you doubt it, where was
he's
he
a
born?
Liberian. I say I seriously doubt that he's a Liberian.
That's why I said, then where was he born? Where he came from?
So-
You see, this is kind of divisive politics.
The
that we
definition
try
of
to avoid.
Liberian citizenship is not restricted to just citizenship.
Yeah, but you should have some proof. If you doubted, then where you think he came from?
Okay, no, but is it?
No, don't just throw it out there and leave
You know his
it.
nationality? Are you asking about his nationality? As
Why
far
should I
as-
ask when I know you are Liberian?
I mean, is
I
that
didn't
the
raise the issue.
Is that my
You
question?
raised the issue. You raised the doubt. So I should ask you.
Hold on, let's go. Folks are listening. So
most likely from Atlanta, Georgia. Yeah, I think it's from Atlanta, Georgia. Have I answered your question?
Okay.
Okay, good.
That's
Now,
what I'm saying. So
So
like,
hold on,
I'm just
hold on
saying.
1 second. Hold on 1 second. So, Professor,
yeah,
someone coming from Atlanta, Georgia, what does that mean?
that means I'm Liberian.
Okay. That's it.
I didn't say he wasn't born in Liberia.
But this is kind of divisive
I didn't say
politics.
he was not born. It's not
Now,
division.
Okay. Hold on.
This is kind of divisive.
Hold on 1 second. Let's get this. I mean, let me neutralize the tension here. Let me
Yeah.
go to journalist Cummings right here now is on the line here. Let's see here. Let's slow down the pace. Cummings, are you there?
Mr. So,
Mm,
good afternoon.
Good evening. Welcome.
How are you, sir?
Yeah, there's a struggle here with, I don't know whether it's a political identity or okay, go ahead. What's up?
First thing, let me say good evening to the Prof, Mr. Toll, Samson Toll, and Amos George. I will start with the point the professor raised. I think the professor, with all due respect, I think he's still in a dream world. The professor is in a dream world. Let me bring you up to speed. From the 80s to the late 90s or the early 90s, there were Kisi people selling rice in the redemption market. Maybe you don't know where the redemption market is. It's on Somalia Drive. My late grandmother used to sell rice by cup and by bag. You don't have to have $1 million for them to give you a bag of rice to sell. They will give you the rice every Saturday. You give them their money, and the profit goes to you, Prof. And another thing you said earlier on was the issue of. I'll come back to that, but let me go to Samson Toll. Mr. Toll, you are a veteran. You've been around for a long time, but I think the line you try to push, looking at the political dynamics of our country today, the line you were pushing with Omen Bwaka, I'll give you one parable. Let's look at it from a biblical perspective. There was a king that was traveling to a faraway country, and he gave his servants talent, each of them talent. Cut long story short, these servants were to use this talent to increase it. But when the king returned, only one person utilized his talent. Look at Cummings. Look at Ambassador Bwaka. Look at George Weah. George Weah had an opportunity. President Weah had an opportunity. God bless him. He took his talent to Cameroon, from Cameroon to Europe. Did he utilize his talent well?
Yes.
When he returned to his native land, the first major thing President Weah did was to open the old school nightclub. He brought his talent back home. Whether he took it to Gibraltar, Clareton, West Point, New Cruton, to Scott Talents, the first major investment was to open a nightclub. The next thing we know, he opened a sports store. The guy he got right now at one of them to LPRC, who squandered. He too was given a talent by George Weah to utilize that talent to invest in the sporting sector of our country. He too squandered the talent, just like the man who squandered his talent abroad and came home. Let's look at Ambassador Boaka. People talk about the agriculture ministry. Let's look at from 1979 to 1980, the agriculture sector of Liberia, the agriculture ministry was dormant. Do your research. It was not active up to 1982. It was not active. So 42 or 41 years of Ambassador Boaka talent was wasted. He didn't use it. He never utilized it well. Let's come to the 12 years. Himself on an interview or in an interview said they were given opportunity. They squandered the opportunity, misused the opportunity. And 12 years, being a veteran statement, we thought that 12 years that God bless you with this talent, the group of 77, by constitutional provision, right? The group of 77, the president, the office of the vice president has oversized responsibility. Now, Mr. Toll, when you go to Nepo Street, I went to a demonstration. I went to Augustine F. King. Augustine F. King is just right opposite the group of 77 office. That building been over there for many years. For many years, since I was a little boy, that building. 12 years ago, Ambassador Boaka was around. So 42 years, he never utilized that talent.
Okay.
He was given a talent by God, but misused it. Cummings took his talent. He came abroad. God bless him. He brought his talent abroad. Not only for his country, not only that people benefited from this talent from his country, but he took his talent home now, trying to utilize his talent. My 14 years in the media in Liberia, one of the people I've seen actively building institutions, not centralizing or kind of trying to decentralize it or making a political institution institutionalized is Cummings. So he's using his talent as compared to some of these people that have been in the land life for a very long time. They haven't utilized their talent yet. So that's how you find us. We kind of crossing across the line, looking for opportunity to see how best we can put this thing at an equilibrium. But if Mr. Tool will allow me to stay around here, Mr. So will allow me to stay around here a little bit.
Yeah,
so
that's fine. Let me just switch gear and go to them because we have to change here. Professor, are you there?
Yeah, it's very interesting. Some of the things he said. I don't know. I just did my mind with the first thing he said would be, but I don't even know which part. You just bring it back on. Can you state the part of the Constitution that says the group of 77 is the responsibility of the vice president? Can he state the article in the Constitution? That's one. Two. I just remember another thing. As a mathematician, I like when people reason from particular to general, because there was a pocket of kissy women who could go to a Lebanese man based on whatever arrangement how a Lebanese man on that and get a few cups or get a bags of rice to sell on loan. Doesn't necessarily mean that could be generalized. It doesn't necessarily mean that every single poor Liberian woman could go to any Lebanese man and get bags of rice to sell and then take it back to them and carry the money to them and get their own. No, we're not talking about a handful of people. We are talking about the bulk majority. That's how we are speaking. So let's get those things very clearly. Now, when you come to this biblical thing, when you bring it into political discussion, I don't want people to think that I'm a deacon, I'm an ordained deacon. But go back to that parable. Did the chief or whatever the man was, did he tell his servants, go and multiply it? Did he tell the people to multiply it? He didn't even get a good instruction. We use that, people use those kind of reasoning from the Bible without even thinking about authority. What is, it's something that you can use to detail the people to go and multiply it. He gave it to them and sent them on the way. Go and read the Bible. What are you told the people to multiply it? So if somebody go and take their own, but that's another thing. That's the third thing. But you made point. It's a valid point. We all know Vice President Burger has a history of bad governance and poor performance. He got 42 years of underachieving. That is not something that is hidden. Vice President Burger has alluded to it from time to time. He was a park race car for 12 years, and prior to that, 30 years, he spent not performing. Not performing. He didn't perform at LPMC. He didn't perform at Agriculture Ministry. Those are things we know. But yet, we say this will be very clear. Kwame has the power to build institutions because he has a deep pocket. And the institutions he built has not served him very well. Look at how much Kwame invested into the election, in 2023 election, in 2020 election, 2017 election. See how much he invested in and calculate the return on his investment. He did not win a single seat. And that's why I just made the point.
But Joy, we lost 2 elections.
That's why I just made the point.
Joy, we lose 2 elections.
It was bad investment. So he didn't gain any investment. So because just because
that you cannot take it as a failure.
So Kwame did not succeed. The other you just took me up. So you just took me up. But you know, so let's be very careful. The another reason why Kwame can build the kind of institution he wants to build is because he has a deep pocket. You understand it? He has a deep pocket. But even at that, even over these years that he's been building institution, how helpful has this institution been to his ambition? I just made a point. Isaac Tuba has just come in, and you see the narrative has been changed.
Are you aware that
he has presented Kwame to the people in a better light? Kwame presented himself to us as an elite. He presented himself to us as an elite. He was Kwame keen to introduce himself to tell us what were some of the things that were important to him. One of the most important things Kwame said to him was gay rights. And you tell me, how many Liberian people will connect with you when you tell them that I'm a strong
professor?
I'm a strong activist. But how many Liberian people will connect with you when you go to the
professor?
Kwame
has a school. Professor Kwame has a school in Morovia.
I agree.
Okay, so no, you don't want to count that. You're looking at the negatives. And this is what I'm saying. This campaign message will not hold, Professor. We will not allow people to get away with it.
So okay, let's have this conversation here.
Let me just the last point. Here's what I'm saying to you. I'm not saying Kwame is necessarily a bad man. I'm saying the way he has presented himself to Liberian people has not earned him.
Okay, so okay, let me just ask this question here.
That is your view. That is your view.
No,
Joy Joaquim, 2 terms he ran, he did not win anything. It was
he got robbed. He got robbed. The election commission issued a statement saying that he won the elections.
Okay, so let me ask this
question. He did not win the election, Professor. He did not win the election.
Okay.
The election he won, it was 2017. That's why I know. He did not win both elections. But what I'm saying here, if we are here to say that, I do not have a problem going after policy of people, but to start demonizing people that this person is not of this country because of the belief, I don't think that's a right we should go.
Is the thing here, Mr. George.
It's not a citizen of Liberia because I never seen George with an uncle. What will you tell me?
Mr. George.
That's his aunt from your past. What will you tell me? So we have to be very careful how we go after people. Let us go after people on the substance and the policy. Today, under your government, how many market women that George Weah has empowered that you can lay numbers on? Say you are the mathematician. Can you give me an estimate? The number of people that your native people that George Weah, Senior King to Power, has empowered Mayata, Sakolo, Poland from Waterside. Can you give me a number?
I put from one country alone. You mean why?
Give me the chance. Give me the chance.
Okay, so let's.
I will call them up by names.
All right, then let's have Mr. George. You want to give me a chance? I still have comments here. Let me just bring in for a minute to respond. Then, Professor, I'm going to be coming to you. It seems to me now you're not put the liberal to sleep. He already took his dissipant. He's way ahead. Let me come to Mr. Cummins here. Cummins, are you there?
I'm here, Mr. Tope.
Okay.
You know, it is laughable for the prof to say what he's saying earlier on. Prof, you are a deacon in the church. That scripture, that portion of the Bible, if you check the 3 synoptic gospel of Jesus Christ, it did not say that the king said, go and multiply. You had a talent. a gift as a mathematician. You never sat down on the fence to keep the math in the book. You decided to go further, to learn more. Whether it is in trigonometry, German, chemistry, physics, or whatever, you decided to go further. God gave you the gift to understand numbers, how to dissect numbers. So they were given a talent. Then one of them decided that, look, I'm going to keep it, buried it. Another took his and multiply. So when God gave you an opportunity, that opportunity is not for you to squander life or to squander it, it's to use it wisely. That's what we're talking about.
Okay.
Okay. Then the next thing he said it was Ava Toba who came on that started selling Cummins' idea or presenting Cummins to the ordinary people as a man of the people, not as an elite. I differ with him. Because let him show me one narrative. Let him show me one article or a newsletter that Ava had done that says that this is Mr. Cummins. The first thing he don't understand is that Ava is not the communication director of the ANC. Ava is the special assistant to Mr. Cummins.
Not special
When was the last time that Ava started talking about Mr. Cummins? You see, sometimes when we provide information, there's something in communication we call believability, accuracy. Now, for you to say that I'm a professor, I differ with you, sir. You need to check that narrative. And you're looking for a constitutional provision in the Constitution that says the office of the Vice President of the Republic of Liberia and that of the Liberian National Lawyer has oversight responsibility of the group of 77. Then you really need to do some homework, Prof.
No, just show me the article. Show me the article.
I will provide an article for you. I will name line by line and
let me go back to him to respond. We came on late, so we're not going to be here for the longest here this evening. Professor.
Look, again, I see somebody here wrote here, but look, let me tell you something. Look, I love when people come in and claim that other people's statements are laughable, when actually the facts are there and people who are listening to us know that we are speaking the truth. Like I indicated here clearly, ANC, one of the reasons why Cummins brought in Isaac Tupa is because he had problems with, communicating his message.
Professor, that's the main judgment. We should not base on that. Let
him finish. Let him finish.
Mr. Joy, let us know.
Cummins' team is saturated with a band of disconnected, elite-minded individuals with no connection with the idiosyncrasies of our Liberian people. And so he's been rejected over and over. And now somebody's putting some sense in his ears. You need some grassrooters. You need some people who will repackage you. You need some people who will remodel you and then sell you. I'm afraid that his brother or cousin or whatever, you have the same name, who is now speaking here, he would have used his talent over the years to have helped him. Because he really hasn't really succeeded. Cummins has a school. Look, I just spoke with one of his surrogates. And the guy we had the same kind of discussion. Cummins has a school, a STEM school in Liberia. Tell me, how many people know about it? I think more people know about my schools in Liberia than they know about his schools. I'm not serious. That's a messaging problem.
Okay. So here is the thing here. And I think the issue of this messaging and connection here, naturally, most of the politicians they have, and I talked to somebody who contested in the last election, and that was one of the things. Because these people who are their faces or people, they are surrogates, they don't want to go out there. They don't really talk about these people. If they are spending 1 hour, they spend more or less 45 minutes introducing themselves than even the person who should be introduced here. So most of these politicians, yes, they suffer with their messaging, and because people just do not used to them, not necessarily because of the thing that they have not done, but our people, they have their sort of audacity of brand name or name that they used to, they feel comfortable to do business. So I'm quite sure, because it's a serious thing to wonder. He had all of the resources. He bought cars. He sponsored most of those people then, the Kennedy then. He did everything that he could do financially. So then what else? What didn't happen? Is it that they didn't know him enough, or he was improperly introduced, or he was rebranded? He allowed himself to be defined, even within the opposition. Saw the identity being given to him by even his own people. Benana Yuri, the Joseph Boyka, and we have taught all of that. So are these all pressing in the minds of the people that, hey, this guy, in fact, he's now one of us? So in order to get his message to go forth, he needs to change course, or maybe bring in new people or other people who will really try to enhance his message. But I want us, we are not going to stay long here. I want us to switch to CDC too as well.
No, before we go, Mr. So, the young man did mention some of my comment here, so let me respond to that, if you don't mind. But knowing who you are, with your conservative view, you try to somehow distance yourself from me again tonight, as usual. But I'm okay. Look, let me tell you this: Kumi and staying alone will win nothing in Liberia. He's smart, good politics. He knows he got it hot. He got it hot for the people. But the same thing that happened to Bronsky is the same thing that happening to Kumi.
What happened to Bronsky?
I'm not going to tell you. Let me just tell you about Kumi, then perhaps you can associate that with. Let me tell you about Kumi, then you can associate it with Bronsky. Kumi's problem, as far as I see it, is that he believes that people, once he gets out there and explain to the people, they will grasp exactly what he's saying without even considering who his audience are. And if you miss that kinds of stuff, you're going nowhere in Liberia. Liberians, especially the young people, because they are the majority of the voters, when you're approaching them, when you're having a conversation with them, you're going to be talking pretty much like double side of your mouth, pretty much. But when Kumi comes out, his explanation, his engagement, they are truthful. I have no question. But when he comes out and sound like some sort of a professor of something else, then he's missed the mark. Lastly, let me tell you this. If Kumi wants to test the politics or the higher office of the Republic of Liberia, carry yourself a second to Dr. Bakai.
Oh, my goodness.
Because if you do that, then the opportunity will be there. If you think you're going to win by yourself, you will not. Let me speak on one more point here on Dr. Weah. Since 2005, every election, according to me, Dr. Weah has won and always been cheated. No,
what do you mean by according to you?
Why? That's what I'm saying. When I say it, I say.
That's a
no. Let me do some of CDC, some assaulting here. You prove me wrong. That's how CDC behave. You prove me wrong. But the point that I'm making on a very serious note. Every election since 2005 until 2007.
You really playing the CDC narrative this evening.
You can call me. Don't even call me undercover CDC. Call me the chief of CDC now, if you don't mind. And I'm going to be very truthful. CDC, as far as I'm concerned, I've always won all of the elections, and I've always been cheated. How many times have Dr. We are going to be invited by uncle in Nigeria? All of the election, every time. And then when he comes back,
you meeting?
Listen, you have to follow it. Just look, hold on. Let me land, then you come in. Since 2005, Mr. Dr. Weah will come out and show you proof that he was cheated. And when things start getting really believable, then he get invited in Nigeria. When he comes back, he tell his people, let's leave it. We're all Liberian. So please, nobody sit here and say he never won anything.
Let me stabilize the conversation before you come back. Let me go to these to the line here, get these two numbers, and then we will be pushing quickly here. Okay, caller, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, go ahead quickly.
Yeah, I just wanted to remind Mr. Toda, Joe Weah didn't run as presidential candidate for 2011. Then he get it clear, so you can say CDC won. Winston Tottenham was the presidential candidate for CDC at that time.
Yeah,
So then you get it very clear. Some major things is really going on in Liberia. I left for you guys to discuss it. You all need to invite the passport director. Now in Liberia, they come from Liberia. When you want to go for passport, what they're doing now is they put you on a waiting list for next year, but they take your money from you.
Put you on the what?
For next year.
Hold on 1 second.
And they say you must go do it online. They get a whole computer set all over around the building. They get people there to do it for them. You pay $5 to do that process. Now they're extracting extra money from people there. Like what they're doing now, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
So you pay for the passport and they give you a year before you
They give you interview day for next year.
When you say next year now, 1 year to do an interview?
No, they give some people February, they give some people April. They say due to the COVID-19, but they say taking your money from you.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. We'll see. I think we have to. Or you say, are you experienced or are you quoting from what people say you experience it?
I'm not quoting. I experience it. I gotta pay extra money to get my passport.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you for that information. I know 1 or 2 people out there will try to. Hopefully, we will see it and get their version of the story. If there's a reason, then what could possibly be that reason? All right. Thank you so much. Okay, Cummins, you want to get to your last point before we go here?
Look, Mr. Toole and the professor, let's say this. From 2005 up to current, the CDC has now had a staunch propaganda team. That's why you see the Ministry of Information, Culture and Tourism has become a rebuttal agency. Okay? Because nobody to sell the narrative of some of the good things that they're doing. You can see it's glaring. It's not something that you have to go in space to see. So I don't know what line, and I kind of shocked this evening, but I know Mr. Toole, he liked to dance around a little bit. Maybe he at the Toole's bridge and he's dancing a little bit, trying to pull people's legs. But I can say this free of charge. President Weah will have a staunch fight come 2023. It will be a staunch fight. It will be a staunch fight. You know me, Mr. So when I say something,
there is be a strong fight. Would there be some sort of condition attached to that strong fight? Seeing what we're seeing, would there be any sort of precondition? Seeing what we're seeing unfolding within the opposition now, do you think if it continues, Mr. So,
when you follow from what transpired 1997 from the Unity Conference Center, you remember the All Liberian Coalition
conference?
I mean, the All Liberian Conference that brought together different political parties, some of the gurus who were in the Americas that went home. Look, we have sat down carefully and analyzed that scenario. We knew that come what may, there would be Julius Ascara in the CPP as it was prior to the 1997 election, the 2017 election.
Okay.
Prior to the Banga conference, I was one of the journalists who came out first to tell Liberians that, look, with the conglomeration of people I see that went to Banga to sign, we might likely go back to the 1997 situation that occurred at the Unity Conference Center. People took it for a joke, but the narrative is right here.
Okay.
We see a reoccurrence of what transpired yesterday right here.
All right. Okay, Mr. Cummins, thank you so much. Okay. All right. Okay, guys, let me come back here, and I believe was that Mr. George or before the call came saying, right?
Yes. I just wanted to tell the Labour, there's no single political party can win an upright election in Liberia now to get 50 plus 1. With all the popularity of George Weah, he could not hit 40% of the election, they had to collaborate with other parties to give them that victory. So that statement you see, no one party in Liberia now can outright win any elections in Liberia. And to the record, George Weah contested once as presidential candidate. He did not win the second. He contested. He was the vice president in Liberia. So let's get that straight. And this idea that people will just now say anything to people and just take it like that is no more. The CDC came into power on this macho of change at the indigenous people. But today, you can see the result of the calamity that is taking place in Liberia. Abject poverty. They have not created one private sector job in Liberia. But yet, but they tell you that this is the people's government. Market women have not been empowered by the very thing they were preaching against. The very thing, look at Ominga. They took the people and go and dump them in the swamp. These are the people we say you came to liberate. And these are the indigenous. Bad policy. But then we want to turn it around to attack people that we don't like. We refer to them as American Liberians. People who are exploited over for 100 some more years. But yeah, but you got your people for 40 some more years. They are doing the same old thing that we did accuse the people in the past of doing. We have to stop this. Let us look for the right people that we think that can lead Liberia. We should put down this ethnic thing and tribal thing aside.
Well, okay.
Let's look up everybody as a Liberian.
All right. I hope, I mean, we've been trying to reach out to the common folks. They've been given guarantee out of them not to even mention Boyka. Hopefully, because I really want to have a conversation here and not just talking off the cuff, because if they agree, we're going to come out with an outline to discuss specific what their agenda to build for the economy, different. We're going to draw out specific with their team here.
You got to center right there. Center right is like communists.
Yeah. What Samson told, please ask your vice president Boyka. The 30 million that he presided over for that agriculture thing in Lofa. Please ask him where is it today.
Well, the man who's done the stuff.
He was put in charge of that, I know, ADP something or AD something. 30 million that were put on his key at drink every time. Ask your VP, let him show that fine in Lofa with the 30 million now. Okay, so we're coming. We're not going to leave no stone unturned.
Oh, but this is the guy who dumped his acid water on you and you turn it over to the liberal. Is that how you're going to do your fight?
No, but he said was something right. But
okay.
We do agree on something, but we have to say the fact. We come here to put the facts on the table. So, Professor, I know that he packaging his campaign for 2023. But
yeah. Okay, we're not going to be.
When you're running in Magiri, I was supporting in Magiri. But when it comes to the general CDC,
let's talk a little bit here. Let's talk CDC a little bit here. This is what I heard today. Yeah. I talked to a long-time presidential secretary way down here. And there was a conversation that came out, and according to him, based on his own experience, he said the president is being mismanaged by the folks around him, especially the presidential team communicators. I'm talking about the press secretary and all of that. So I was asking, what are you talking about when you say mismanaged? Why is it? He said they are trying to diminish the popularity of the president by every now and then getting him. And he made a specific reference. He said when Samuel Doe was president, Willie Gibbons, Patrick Cummings, all of those people, they were saying something. They used to stand up. There are some places that though he wants to go, they will say no. Don't go there. Either your VP or whoever that is in charge. And a specific reference was made to the Rennie Hospital. The president was not necessary that the president should have gone there. Maybe the Minister of Health or the Vice President. The president would have only shown up during a dedication when a new building is being erected. Is that a fair analysis on the president?
No, it's not. It's not. And I will, first of all, let me disavow that thought that anybody is deliberately mismanaging the president. Those people who work with the president are decent, patriotic people people who love the president, people who want to see the president do well, and they are doing a wonderful job. They have a preference for doing things a little bit different from what maybe even I here might want to see them do, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they are deliberately mismanaging. Now, listen, I come from Kakata. I think you heard the superintendent talk about that today. The burning of the destruction of the C.H. Rennie Hospital, it runs close and dear to our heart. It touches us a lot. You understand it?
Mm.
We are, people talk about loaf of the bread basket of the country. We could consider ourselves one of the coffers, pillars of Liberia coffers. We put a lot of money into Liberian coffers than even most other counties are doing. Yet our county is underdeveloped. That hospital, which people refer to as referral hospital, was nothing more than just basically buildings with ill-equipped, poor staff, and everything. But even at that, it was the only place that the workers on my farm in Yemen, all the people in Sakibomba town, all the people in Bololand,
all the people in Kwarakomai,
those were the only place they would go to address their needs. The people of Magibi needed to hear from the president, and that's what the president did. He went there, he spoke, and he reassured us that he's going to rebuild that hospital. Today, we are glad that he did it. So, because in the absence of that, people were wondering. The discussions were already being held in the superintendent told you that today. Magibians in the United States were already scrambling, looking for resources to see whether we could erect the thing quickly. But like I for one, I was getting ready to launch a campaign to rebuild that place in 6 months. So when the president comes in, he can now give us the opportunity to redirect our resources to areas that would be preventative to what happened. So we are directing our resources to getting a fire truck.
Okay, so yeah, this is it's a very good thing here, but what I have here, and the Liberal probably he can come in with his engineering. You, of course, you are. The quick fix, you say you want to do it 6 months. Don't you think they could carry on some forensic to know the root cause or the causes of why, even though not the president, the superintendent kind of gave a overview, because, and the reason of that, in as much you want to solve problem, sometimes emotion takes us away. We get to do it, but there must be a lesson learned from that. So don't you think that you do some sort of intensive, making sure everything is in place before they can even get to that?
This health statistics of Liberia is scary. I agree with you. All those forensic things can be taking place while we concomitantly build our hospital to ensure that we can.
Yeah, but Professor, that's the results of the forensic will also determine the sort of structure, how to place it, what to do.
Forensic will determine. I understand those things, but we cannot wait for the forensic investigation to be done, to start to rebuild. Because guess what? While we wait, you have more women.
We don't have the capacity to do that. Is that why?
More women will be dying in childbirth. While we wait, more babies will be dying before they reach their first birthday. While we wait, diseases that are easily curable could become communicable, and we're going to have our population could be threatened. So we got to understand those things. This is a human exigency that must be addressed immediately.
Okay.
If we had the resources,
one thing that I have is
let me finish your point.
If we had the resources, we'll put a hospital there, a temporary hospital. In the meantime, while the people are working on it, it doesn't have to be at the scene. I would suggest, for example, I think that I don't want to get in trouble. KRTDI is now open, as far as I know right now. Maybe we could move the hospital operations to KRTDI. In the meantime, since it's not open as a facility, that government facility, we could be using it, but our people need a hospital. And I will be angry. I will be extremely angry if this government does not act quickly to ensure that our people have a temporary place to go through with the problems. I'll be flying from.
But I think the superintendent alluded that today. There's a temporary place. But let me bring in the Liberal. Let me bring in the Liberal here, and the Liberal. I want us to take it in the engineering perspective. Just a little overview. What happens when a bridge, for example, or in a structure, for example, collapse? This 1 year got burned. Of course, these are all stuff here. What is the very first thing do they do? What should be done first? You see, you close your mic now and you will say, other one did it.
Mr. So,
You're running away from the professor here this evening.
yeah, I'm getting ready now to derail all his talking point here tonight. But just give me a minute. I will derail it big time. But before that, let me just give you a little insight of what if I were there doing an investigation. The structure integrity is what's going to be investigated. The fire department will come and decide what happened, where the fire started from, and what have you. The structure engineer will come and determine as to which one of the building, part of the building that is still standing, or that will be able to stand for them to build. So all of those things, but those are, for me, the building that I'm looking at, it doesn't have any kinds of how do you call it, columns and all those kinds of good stuff. So it's just a round building, and Laster can take care of anything. If you want to do a curtain walls, what have you. So the investigation, as far as structure is concerned, it's not a big deal. If the brakes, they inspect the brakes because those are concrete brakes, and when you put too much fire on it, those are sand. They can melt, so you can see, and you can discard those. And so this one, you just take a common hammer. I mean, a hammer and tap it. You will hear the sound. If it's structurally sound, you would know the difference. So that they can do that. Now, Mr. So, we sat here for almost 10 minutes. We listened to the CDC professor running CDC 2023 campaign here tonight on LeBron Public Radio. I like that because he will be challenged throughout. And one of them here tonight, let me start now. The professor is on record of saying that the popularity of Dr. Weah is not being managed fairly. The professor right now, a few minutes now, he said those people who manage the president, they're doing a very good job. Professor, I had to explain to you the visit the president took to Calcutta, based on the fact that he did not have a good management. People to manage his day-to-day visiting and what have you. I've created some set of failure in my mind. The president, you watched that video before the president went in during the fire. And I was telling Mr. So the other day, I'm sorry you weren't here. During the fire, who did you see was struggling to put out the fire? Was a young people in that community. If the president have a strong management team, they would have told the president that the young people must be around. And when you watch that video, the visit, who did you see? All people were gone with white chicken. That white chicken business you go there for?
Are you making that
no? Man, stop, CDC professor, and let me learn, please, if you don't mind. The president went over there because people who managed the president were not doing a good job. What could have happened if I was one? Mr. President, let's get these young people, those who actually went out to put out the fire, bring them on board and let's congratulate them first. Tell them thank you. Then you can turn to the old people. When the fire was happening, the old people were nowhere to be found. Only the young people. Why was the president's attention not focused on those young people? Now, the president is now promising that they're going to rebuild a political hospital, I call it. Rebuild a political hospital. And then what will happen, Mr. President, when you rebuild? Will you be able to stock that hospital with the equipment that is needed? Or are we still going to be, Mr. President, are we still going to be taking people in a hammock from the village to the hospital that you're going to rebuild? Mr. President, where is the road that's going to take the people from the village to the hospital if we do have ambulance? Mr. President of the Republic of Liberia, please hire people that will give you something that you yourself is quite aware of. Mr. President, you are not a Congo man. You know exactly what Liberians, who they are. You grew up in our community. Mr. President, since when last time when you were in Cloud Town with no shoes on, walking barefoot, that you see people coming and how we build this thing and then without any kinds of equipment? Mr. So lastly, the professor, Here we go. Well, that other big stomach man, get him out. What you gonna do? You able to put a fire? He able? What are you doing over there? Look at mountain. You are not the people. The only people that are holding the young people. You see people holding camera, but no conversation whatsoever. Look at the people around the president when he look at the big stomach and get up me. That they able to put a fire? No, and you're gonna distance yourself from the young people. This is not acceptable. So I think the president next time, if he has to go on this thing, let him go and meet with the young people. Tell the young people thank you. So, guess what? People are in majority.
Before you come in, Professor, you sounding a little bit ridiculous here tonight.
Yeah.
And I think you're already having a nightmare here. You didn't even listen to the superintendent here today, because I asked that question specifically. That hey, the people of Mount Gibby, we should give it to them. Why the fire service is just like 45 minutes, and the superintendent said we call it came, but by the time they even got there, those young people have done what they could do, and later on the president made that. But when you're talking about people get beast on me, okay, of course you got a beast on me, that is okay. But I thought I would be hearing say like the technocrat, they could be there. So if he brings up
Mr. So,
that would be
this does not require engineering technocrat to go out there. This is a common building that was I can close my eye and build that building. If they just put brick and concrete and cement together, that's it. Also the people in Liberia, what they do, they put steel rod in the building for what? What is how much is the weight of the roof that you're gonna put steel rod in the building? You put steel rod in the concrete to take on the deflection part of because concrete is not strong enough to take on deflection. If you put a roof over the building, how is it going to deflect? The building, you don't need the steel rod, but they do that anyway, but that's fine. So what is the reason you want engineering explanation? There's nothing, nothing here.
But
I'm just go ahead, Professor, before then why Professor wearing all over white?
Well, again, that's what he chose to wear.
That's our nephew.
Yeah, but you see, again, I'm glad that you clarified it for the Liberal Progressive, that the president did commend the young people, and not just the president, but many of us have already done it. I indicated to Mr. So, I think the other day was Sunday. Some of the young men you saw touching that fire were students of my school. And I heard that one of my students was one of the bravest one over there who was engaged in that fire, for which I'm extremely proud of him. I don't want to say more detail about him, but I heard, there's a guy who comes from, whose father was in politics in Liberia. And to hear that he was one of those guys who were really, really engaged, and I felt so proud of him. Look, you see, Liberal Progressive comes in and then he dismisses his own argument, because on many occasions he had talked about the president carrying technocrats with him in those kind of circumstances. Look, these situations are not intended to investigate and know and identify the cause of it. These are solely intended to calm the fears of the people, to bring down, the tension, to dismiss the uncertainty, to give the people hope. And that's what the president is doing simply over here. Now, another thing, the president spoke to the young people. We gotta understand our culture. These young people were not raised or trained by themselves. You gotta honor the elders.
There we go.
Raise them, so that unlike other places, or in Liberia, other places, the young people might come there and stand and be taking pictures. But our brave young men and women of Kakata, Magidi County, they put their lives at risk and they engage the fire. That speaks volumes about the town that I love. And so when you go there, you must thank their parents who raised them. Because guess what? If I was in Kakata when I was growing up, that's exactly what I would do. What you saw on display was the spirit of Kakata. That's how we did it in Kakata. We engaged challenges and confronted this kind of problem with bravery and courage and high sense of patriotism. That's why we Kakatonians, we don't come to America and forget about Liberia. When we come here, we remain engaged with Liberia. We join ULA, we join the community association. We don't take on other foreign foreign campaigns, foreign things. So let's be very careful when we say those kind of things. So that's why I don't think it was a bad move. I think it was, yes, I indicated the president had been mismanaged. I indicated But the context in which Mr. So brought it up today, I had to quickly dismiss it. I don't think I don't think they are intentionally mismanaging. They are doing a great job as far as they understand. So they are not intentionally mismanaging. That was my correction I wanted to make. I don't think I negated what I said before. I don't think I contradicted what I said before. I said at times he's been mismanaged, but are they doing it deliberately? No, I don't think anybody's doing it deliberately. So did I clarify that, Mr.
Well, how are you going to do it deliberately if you don't know what you're doing?
No, but his statement was that people were doing it deliberately. Let's go back and play what Mr. So said. He said people were doing it deliberately.
But
yeah, go ahead.
Let me just say this. I think it was right that the president goes to Kakata. If he had not gone there, I would have been one of those who would come after him. But it was right that he goes there. Because that is a national disaster for that county. So it was befitting that he goes there. But I think there were one or two statements he made that I had a problem with. Mentioning that the legislature, the money, he is the chief executive. By the way, that means he runs the day-to-day activities of the country. So if the legislature propose a budget and he sees that there is not enough there for health, he can say, I'm not signing it because this much money is not enough for health facility. But to want to put that squarely to the legislature, I think that was a wrong statement by him. He should not say that the legislature didn't want supposed to put money there, so got to see what they would do. No, he's the chief executive. Money put in the budget, he created the budget. He proposed the budget and sent it to the national legislature. So if he said 500,000 for Rainy Hospital, and the national legislature we cannot sign it, that's why I said then you use your political capital and take the legislature to the people and say, this is what I put there, but your legislature cannot sign it. So those people, then the voter will take on them. But if you are not doing that and you want to blame them, then that way I got problem with him when he made that statement. But that was a problem with him. And secondly, the hospital. I do agree with Professor Zawo. One, that if the KRTDR is not being utilized, they should go there. It's a government facility, transfer the patient there. And when they build something, because this is how development comes, some disaster lead to changes. Let it be a stand-up hospital. Put oxygen, cheap all in the building, so people don't have to be told in tanks. Because this is how development comes. But because Brandon, you just go and put the same old thing there, that will not help to improve the country. Those people can be those patients can be transferred somewhere and sit down and draw a plan that will make that place a modern hospital, not the same old structure because we want to do holiday. No. The electrical grid should be the modern electric power thing that can, if the current go and come, that can reduce that current. It will not destroy the equipment. All these things should be put on the plan, Professor Zawo. I know the hospital is very vital, but you can use KRTDR and let the government come for a blueprint that will modernize that hospital, not the same old structure. The facility, the equipment in there should all be modernized.
Professor, it should be an advantage. You get a partisan here, Samson too. He can do a design for the hospital.
He's too busy, but let the hospital be designed.
It's doing what?
Come and look at it and say, yes, it will burn, but today we got a modern hospital than what we have here.
But Mr. Joyce,
yes.
let me just remind you quickly. If you look at that building, the burning part of it, most likely didn't even pass the window, the bottom window of it. So the foundations and everything else, they're intact. So the basic build, unless you want to change the blueprint of the building, but if you keep the blueprint, the foundation is still intact. And you can take out, like I said, you can take out the part of the bricks that are no longer functional and replace those things. And there's easy way to inspect those things. Just take a common hammer, and the fact that they are holding each other by mother, if you take the hammer and knock the bottom bricks, the sound of that will be different than the sound of a brick that is not functioning anymore. In other words, if it's loose, the hollow sound, it will be deafening than it is with the one that is holding together. Because if you hit the one that is holding together, the sound will vibrate, evaporate throughout the entire sound.
There's some alteration need to be done on that building. We cannot go and
yeah, no, I agree, but it shouldn't be unless you want to use a entirely new design. Other than that, that building to rebuild it, it shouldn't be that much of an issue. It shouldn't be that expensive.
I can't wait to break. All right, gentlemen. I think time is out of hand here.
That was built in the 70s.
Yes.
Come on, that thing. No, we don't want to fight anything. So,
okay.
All
then
right.
move it. Go somewhere else. Do it.
Yeah. Guess what?
As far as I know, that area, the same area, has a lot of land there. I don't know what
Okay. Well, time catch up with us here. We hope to discuss what his name, the chairman of CDC, should have appeared on Spoon. What happened? What did not happen? But guess what, gentlemen? Our own liberal. I don't know. This guy. I think that Mikey is also praying along with me. They invited guy to be he's going to be a guest speaker at his district convention. The last 2 days, gentlemen, I'm having a sleepless night. This guy,
but this is what you need to know.
Yeah,
I was recognized by Jefferson Kochi, mayor of the Republic of Liberia, Monrovia City, mayor, recognized the liberal progressive, and because of that, the people know that I can deliver. So they asked me to be the guest speaker.
Besides that, the liberal progressive is a very smart man. You know, sometimes he brings himself down. I saw him elevating Dr. Cassell's PhD above his engineering strong. I know he wants to be. I know it was a joke, but yeah, I know what it takes to become an engineer. So
so the liberal, you're going to be speaking at what appears to be a jam-packed convention because the last convention it was canceled because of the COVID, right?
Right.
Unfortunately, I will not be there. You're going to be going. Your time is already out here. What are you going to be telling the people of Boston District or maybe General Green Gideon? So what are you going to say?
I would take from the playbook of the CDC professor and try to modify that particular idea to fit the needs of our people, specifically education. And one of the things that it was very easy. I mean, I was just asked 2 or 3 days ago, and the convention is next week. So I don't even have time to put all this stuff, but I will do my best. I mean, there's something we can do, no big deal. But the point that I'm trying to make is that this organization that we're talking about, they are more structure as it is right now, is to promote the educational process in the district. They started building high school already. And they are in the process of even going to my town to build a high school in my area. So
you're going to do the design for them?
No.
Why?
No, because the people in Town, the serious stuff and a true story. The people in Town don't believe that I am a member of their community anymore. I'm not from Town, they say, and they of serious stuff. I mean, I'm in court as we speak. I am in court for my land. But I can't represent myself because they don't think I'm somebody from Town. So my son is representing me. So I'm not going to do any kind of design. But it's not because I don't want to do it. But
it appears to me now you're in the same suit, the identity being established by the professor here that's the senior. You're not one of them.
Yeah, that's it.
but no, to close, Mr. So we're going to emphasize what these people are doing about the school issue in Boston District, and we will try to appeal to any listener, anybody who will listen, that let's put together as brothers and sisters, because the mindset of a people, if they are educated, it's very easy to have a genuine and sustainable development, and that's going to be my line.
Look, yeah, I don't usually like to respond here, but let me bring here, what we do here, we educate, we inform, but we also, if people have to, if you don't know somebody, probably you have to ask. And I want to put this one.
Mr. So, look, if that's those guys who are coming here for me, let's move on. I don't think it's good.
Okay, well, we are, that's
normally these guys are Liberians. I can always engage them one-on-one and talk to them, so I don't have time for that. That's
Okay, well, all right, we'll leave it as it is. Anyway, it's not an insult, but so we will see as it is. They can write that view.
Yeah.
Okay.
I prefer before even Isaac here. I don't even care. So
all right, gentlemen, that's how we're going to draw the curtain down here. Mr. Toll, congratulations for your preferment. You gave something for you to be called to speak in 2-3 days time. There was there any compromise?
No, Isaac, how much they pay him?
No, they're not paying him, but I'm hearing is the way other way around. You want to speak to that?
No.
No statement. You plead the fifth.
Well, we're gonna eat goat. That's for sure.
But you are goat. So you are good guest speaker. They're going to pay you for
That's good enough. It's my county. It's my district. These are my brothers and sisters. But no, on a very serious note. On a very serious note. Let me just say, Mr. So, before we go, please let me just say this here. In the community of the district, and even in Grand Jide community, I am considered one of the older person, the older big brother, but I'm still hanging with them. And the respect they have for me it's tremendous. So when they ask you to do these things, it's not because of this, but because of the respect they have for you. And the fact that I'm always with them. In fact, when I leave now, he's going to be calling. And before he will call 2, 3, 4 people on the line, and then they will take me on. So that's what we do. We respect each other, and I respect them a lot. And in turn, they respect me as well.
All right, don't go bring goat tea, cow tea here to say it's a good cow tea here. That I know the difference between goat tea and cow tea. All right, gentlemen, as usual, I want to thank you for your commitment, for your time and expertise as usual. By God's willing, we're going to be right back here again to take on a wide range of issues, news, making headlines. We're plucking in some numbers to see who we can get here, and as soon that ball drops, we'll keep you posted in our chat room. Until then, folks, gentlemen, have a pleasant May week, Wednesday event, and the Liberals will be monitoring whatever we're going to be. We're going to be monitoring. Mr. George, Professor Asese Labozaulo, thank you so much. And folks, our beautiful viewers, followers, listeners, we want to thank you. Please subscribe to Liberia Public Radio. Go on Facebook in the search engine, type in Liberia Public Radio via Facebook, YouTube, and our Twitter handle. And you can visit our official website, www.liberiapublicradio.com. Don't forget to hit that bell, the notification bell, and click on all notification. That way you will keep posted. If you're your first time, we say we wholeheartedly to welcome you. Make this network your home network. Females, we want to keep it balanced. We want to keep it proportionate. If you want to be an analyst, contributor here, also let us know. Or anybody who willing to get ready to get the hard water that will be coming at you to what, of course, which is nothing. So you want to be a contributor, let us know. Send in your comments, your suggestions on things that you want us to talk about as well, not just on the politics. And interestingly, Professor, there's a young Liberian. I'm gonna be bringing him here. He's in India. He managed to monitor our program, and I saw this phone call coming. Actually, he sent a text. I didn't realize that, and then later on, I saw this phone call coming here. It's quite interesting. He's doing. Let me see here. Pharmacology, doing the research in India. It's amazing. He get a very amazing story to tell, and he's a young person. He called. He said, "Look, I want to come on LPR, and the reason I want to come, I have listened to other places, your conversations, your discussions, the civility in it, and I want to be like a motivation to encourage your people because he has a very special story to tell. But we are doing everything possible. I already connected with him. We're going to make that arrangement, and we're going to be bringing him here. I just thought that I put it out to you guys as a young person, doing the research now in India, studying. That's a lot. So there are a lot of young generation people out here. And this is why we want some of these old folks now to retire, for God's sake. They can't be in it until the law call on them. Samson, you understand what I'm saying?
Mr. So the old people help to help the young people to navigate the community.
Yeah, let them show them the path. They can't. They didn't show the path. We can't.
Dr. Baka will save this country Bring it back to the original position, and then we give it to the young people.
You're good now, yeah, because they may come back with he.
Please tell us.
What you say, Pa Josh?
I said Professor Zabulon Montez, his president.
Yeah.
We want that hospital to be a modern hospital. The number of the manager proposing, or they say that no.
Like the military 14? The 14 military hospital or what?
We want again if it is a 14, but it should have.
You're not even from Kakata anyway.
Who?
It's at all.
You see this guy?
I'm a parent man.
Good night, have a good night.
If I go to
One country is going to stay out trouble now.
The president is on record for being the first president in Israel Liberia to even repair, to go and visit Lago Libya and repair it. Since the school was built, never been renovated.
So
never been visited by the president.
That's why he's the president. That's the job. I will commend him for that. Okay,
guys. Good night. Have a pleasant evening. We're not gonna start the interview all over. Thank you.
Good night. Good night, folks.
Hallelujah. 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 Hallelujah.
All right, good, beautiful people. I want to thank you for your time, for your comments, your tweets. Remember, whatever say on this network does not in any way represent the management and staff of the Liberia Public Radio, but we do help to facilitate this hard-call conversation here. Your agreement, disagreement, that is okay. But as far as we are concerned, civility is all we maintain on this network.
I will lift up my voice to heaven and give you the highest praise. Hallelujah to my King.
Until then, by God's willing, same time, same station, we'll be back here to discuss more issues, what we try to do to prioritize what is most important for our country. We can have these political discourse, agreement, disagreement, and make sure and see what is applicable. Let's put the interest of the country first. That's the only way. It doesn't matter which party you come from, but your honesty and sincerity you bring to serve your country. The authenticity is what important.
Hallelujah. 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 Give him hallelujah. Give him the highest praise. Hallelujah. Give him the highest praise. Hallelujah. Give me the highest praise. I just wanna die.